What I want to show today is the blog components and how the two big things fit together. There's the blog pages, and then there's the actual blog loop that goes on another page, the blog loop, showing the thumbnails of the various blog posts. But before I do that, I just wanted to do a shout out to watch a YouTube video from Bootstrap Studio 2, which is very good with describing the blog, but this maybe helped myself just for little nuances that I learned. This is called Building a Blog in Bootstrap Studio. It's under the Bootstrap Studio YouTube. We'll just do it.
Hey folks, in this video we will build a simple blog with Bootstrap Studio. You will learn how the blog loop component works and how you can turn any folder of pages in your design into a dynamically updated list of posts. No CMS or Word.
Here's a quick one about blogs that I missed in the previous one. So basically, real quick, you've got pages here that are just pages, but they also have things brought in where if you type blog here, you can do blog title, blog post title, and that sort of thing. Drag them into a container. The other big thing here is that there's a meta data on these things. So if you go into properties, you could say here the blog options, and you're going to drag what the image looks like and the title and the excerpt, and basically that allows one template, so to speak, to draw in the various aspects from the various blogs. So the big thing is there's blog pages and they have a meta page, okay? That doesn't show them in the title or in the thumbnail. What you want to do in the case of that is you want to pick a page, and that could be any page. You're going to go into, like say the index here has one on it, and what you're going to do is drag up, these top three are the big ones. Top three are the big ones. So blog loop, and especially the blog authors. You don't use blog author name, for instance. What you're going to do is because it's a loop. So anything that has multiple gets a loop. So basically, the blog loop is one thing, and then there's also the authors, which you can have multiple authors. So the authors, they don't go in this section here. What happens here is for blog authors, which you need, you're going to basically drag that into your template. Okay, so there you would draw blog authors into, here we go here. So let's see, blog authors is in here somewhere right there. And if you open that up, so one of these goes on each blog page over here, or blog post, which is a page. So you're going to drag the blog authors into, like say, the template, and then that's going to automatically pull the authors in. So that has nothing to do with the blog loop. If you want to show the all the blogs on a page in a row, for instance, with a bunch of columns, you're going to take the blog loop and you're going to drag it into, for instance, we're going to go to the, let's see here, blog loop. There's one there, all blogs. So we're going to basically take that, and we've got container with a header, and then we've got a container with the blog loop. If you open that up, you can see that there's a row, and then that breaks out into all the various blog posts, which are listed over here. So they get pulled in automatically. You can filter them by the blog tags and that sort of thing. But what I'm going to do here is I've got the row, and if you pick the row and then you go to the log base, that's a row basically here, and you can go options and you can say how the size is and how many per row. So I could do like a 4 per row, and and that would be 4 per row at very small. If I don't know what I'm on here right now, I'm on small. So if I said small and put, like say, 3 on there, you can see that it's going 3 across. Okay, so basically I think that's the big things. You've got the blog posts, which they're just pages that could be displayed by themselves. But then you've got the right click, and you've got the metadata by going to the properties. And in here you can see down below, if I pick the blog options, which is the right thing, then if I come down and you can see the tags, here's where you add new tags. Here is where you can pick the tags for that particular article. This is blog 2 in this case. And authors, you can manage authors, and here's where you can pick which authors are part of this article. So in this case, there were two of the authors, and I only have two. So I could take my name off there, and it would just be one. Now you can show this particular blog in the loop or not too. So that's where you can turn off, like say for a template, you could turn it off. So I'll do a save there, and that's really, I think, the basics before we get into the meat of the thing. Oh yeah, so with this on the small, you probably wouldn't do three. So we're going to go small, and I'll do one there. Then I'll do two at medium. So I'll switch this to medium, and you can see there's two. And then if I have three on large, so if I go to large, you can see there's three. And if you have multiple, it'll just show in threes all the way down. Um, you can turn this option on. I forget where that is in here. Um, Anyways, you'll find it. That should be basically it, I think, as far as important stuff. Just a quick go over here of the blog, what I know so far. This is in our Trinity Christian Church. And if I go under this section over here, you can see there's all the pages, and I created a subfolder called blog, and all the pages are in there. They're just pages. So if I go into, like, say 001, then you can see that that's what we're working on here. And you're not just doing anything over here, but you're dragging stuff from over here that say blog. So you're going to get things from the actual blog post. And if I double click on here, that goes into the blog options. And if I click blog options here, you can see the image that's being used and the title and the excerpt. Come down further. You got a bunch of tags in here. You can set your own, and you say which tags are applied to this, to a particular, like this one is blog 001. You can have authors, and you can manage the authors over here and do things like put an image in there, that sort of thing. Then there's a totally, so what you can do also, instead of double clicking on here, which is the easiest way, you can also come in here, you can right click and go to properties, and that'll bring up the SEO, or sorry, the blog options, and you can do the same thing over here as fill these out. Then let's see here. On any page or multiple pages, you can have your choice wherever you want to put these. But basically, if I bring up the index, which has some on it right now, bring up the index, and you can see over here, there's this thing called blog loop. So I just dragged that into a container. So I put a container on and then drag the blog loop into it. And then in the blog loop, this is important, up here you want to say which folder that's in. So we created that /blog, and it's going to grab all the items that are in there. And in the blog loop, you can see there's a loop base, which is a row. So if you click on there, you can come over here, you can see you can add a gutter, which is between rows, but the big thing is per row. You can set, so if you're on a small screen, you can go, or a very small screen. That seems to be this one, extra small, I think it's called XS, extra small. So that's extra small, which it doesn't say here, but, and then you've got, I've just got small default, and medium would be 2. This would be 2. And you can see I've got that clicked right there, that's medium. And 3, blah, blah, blah. And so that's how it decides how many to put across. Then again, to come over to, like, say blog 2, and you go to properties of that, and click the blog options over here, which then if you drag down, you can see authors, blah, blah, blah. Now here's the big thing is you can go into tags, and if you do this drop down, you can pick which of the tags. So I've got this one set to the home page. And then when you do the blog loop, you can say what tags you want on showing on this blog loop over here. So I originally did this, I took it off again, but basically you can do this filter by tag, and then you can say, for instance, homepage is the one that I'm showing here. I chose then to go more to showing order by date, and then I did a show of 2 right here, limit. So it's limited to 2. You can do whatever you want there, but makes it very easy. I guess in this case, I just want to show on the main page the index, the most current 2. And of course, that can always be changed, but that's what I'm doing right now. So seems to be an issue with this blog author image. I don't know why it's doing that, um, but I've got to call into the support right now to find out. And so you can drag these things down into here. If I do, you can see each entry has a loop item. So if I bring these down, there's another loop item there. So you can see there's two loop items. One's called blog template and the other one's called blog 001 from over here. So they all basically have these components in them. So there's the thumbnail. And if you just scroll down, you can see the various options. There's the post link. So there's authors, and I drag that over into here, and it shows the authors for that. So it's that's how you basically set up your individual blog posts. So I can go into, like say this one is the template. So if I go into the template, just my template, but then I've dragged things into there. So there's the blog post title and excerpt and here, and then I've got author. I'm not sure, for some reason it's showing the word author. In fact, I'll try this blog post, blog author name. It's still showing just author. I think that's another bug, but in theory, we should be able to show the author twice there if we wanted to. I don't know why you would want to, but anyways, and then I can take this and I can do some padding on the side to move it over if I would so desire. I think that's about all there is to show for blogging. It's basically, I think the big thing too is that there's the blog pages, and then there's the loop, okay? And then once you have the loop, get the container open here. So yeah, this is basically just a page, and you can add anything into it. But if you want the specific things like title or blog date and that sort of thing, you drag them from over here into there. And then as you have more and more of these pages, they will be consistent in showing what goes into those areas. And then of course, if you want to see the actual loop, you go to the page that has the loop in it. So here I would go to, for instance, index has a loop on it. And you can see if I open up, there's the blog loop there. And it has a loop base, and then which is the row that you divide into how many columns you want to cross. So it acts like a row that you drag in into a container. And in a normal case, you would just put a container and then drag a row into there and columns into there. But here you're dragging a container down and then dragging the blog loop in, and then basically each of your pages would go into the loop base. And of course, to make things consistent, what I'll do is create this template, and then I'll right click every time and then duplicate that so that everything's consistent on the pages. Now, here's something to notice is that to be consistent from one to the other, they have all these card bodies. So if I open up this one, you have a card body down there too. Okay, so you've got basically say let's do the image. So you can see that this one's highlighted, but if I delete that, watch over here, they both go at the same time. Okay, so anything in this card basically follows suit. Okay, so um, that's something important to watch because then you don't have to be changing them. If I do a Command Z, it just goes back to the way it was. And like I say, for some reason this isn't showing properly, but that's something completely different. If you want your blogs to be basically the loop to show a smaller amount, you can do that. I think in the loop base, maybe, or is it in the loop itself? There's a place where you can say how many characters of the excerpt. If I go into here, oops, click body over here, excerpt, and that's in a card, so I might be able to fix it over here. Taking a look, taking a look, taking a look. You can see we're working on the excerpt here. Or maybe under the card body. Oh, I think I know where it is. If I come under here, click, click, blog options. I seem to remember maybe, nope. Oh boy. I don't remember where that is. Okay, I was close originally. So basically you come down to, you find the excerpt over here. And then what you do is you set the, so this is blog post excerpt, and you set the length limit. So take that slider and say 35 characters, I guess. So we say maybe bring that up to say 88 or 90, somewhere in there. And then, yeah, that's the maximum that can be shown on each one. And that's in this particular blog loop. So if you had another loop on another page, you could have this be different too. Again, if I just save this and show it, you can see here that it automatically chopped off that. And if you then click on here, you can see the whole thing and the whole excerpt and everything. And then go back. You're going back to the blog page listing. And I can go to the root, which is where this came from. I think that shows most of what I learned so far.